Welcome back to Worlds 2020. I'm still Dracos. This is still Frost, and we are here to bring you Game 5 of the day, FlyQuest versus the Unicorns of Love. Now, unfortunately, this game will not have any effect on standings. FlyQuest are locked in 3rd, and Unicorns of Love are locked in 4th. But this is the last time at Worlds 2020 that you will see both of these teams. So it's about giving them a proper send-off. FlyQuest looking to double down on the performances that they had earlier today, and UOL looking to change their story so far, not looking to end winless in this group.
It's a swan song. So let's take a moment, chat, and everyone wave goodbye to Unicorns of Love and FlyQuest and just appreciate the accomplishments of their 2020 season. Get used to the name Unicorns of Love. Get used to seeing this squad. Since acquiring and merging the squad from Vega Squadron, Unicorns of Love, as Sheepy put it, thinks that he is the best 5-man team, or Russian team from the LCL, and that groups was the bare minimum for this team to make. So as we continue to see them rise up through plans, repeatedly make it to Worlds, we should get to know these guys fairly well. On the other side, you know, there was a lot of question marks around FlyQuest over the course of the year, and then had that run to the top as everything started to click together. And I think that while it is a shame that North America hasn't gotten any teams out of groups, they now get to hold high their heads of taking down the LPL first seed, as is tradition. It feels like NA might actually be the kryptonite for LPL. LEC should take some notes.
Yeah, they're not prepared for it. But as we enter picks and bans, of course, it's the blue bans on the blue side. We've got Ashe, Volibear, and Shen, whereas the Lucian, Nidalee. Last one is going to be an interesting one here. The Swain taken away. Now, this seems to be one that most teams do not want to deal with, and it's the most respected of the Unicorns of Love wheelhouse of wild picks. And as you heard on the analyst desk earlier from Amazing, he feels like the creativity is kind of stalled out a little bit, that we've kind of seen that everything that UOL can bring to the table. But as this is their last chance to throw a punch, we'll see what kind of punch UOL are looking to throw. Is it going to be a wild one?
Now with the Graves priority pick, this does mean that Lillia is left open and available. So Santorin, yep, snap grabs that one very quickly, while the Jhin is picked up for WildTurtle.
Yeah, Lillia as well.
Syndra has slipped through.
Some other good options. Syndra's always one that's going to be interesting. Double AP feels like a clear sign for Nomanz to bust out that Cassadin. That said, though, PowerOfEvil on the Syndra previously really mid-gap Nomanz. How that was a massive performance from him individually as a player. The electrocute Syndra in mid lane. Maybe hoping that he can repeat that today, but now we've got the immediate Cassadin lock in the call out. Lucian is the only AD mid in the meta. You have nothing left, PowerOfEvil. You must pick an AP champion.
It's also the Nomanz special. Famous for his Cassadin. We saw it pop off into plans, and again, if this is going to be your last spotlight on the world stage for 2020, you might as well go out with a bang. We saw PowerOfEvil pull off the Azir last time around. Cassadin has a decent matchup into it. His ability to riff walk around the wall, kind of find himself back into position. So PowerOfEvil holding that one for now, as it's Renekton locked in, so a very strong AP jungler, AD top laner. If Santorin does want to gank Solo's lane, definitely. It's also a strong pick for Boss, so denying him that one.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Of course, last time we saw this game, of course, at the end of the day, it did go in favor of FlyQuest, but early on, it was a lot about the mid lane for FlyQuest getting a lot of attention and the top side for UOL. Solo suffering a little bit as Boss and AHaHaCiK kind of repeatedly look to find a 2v1 in that lane. So we'll see if it's a similar story today or if the strategy adjusts a little bit. Hard to know with Renekton. You can leave him alone. You can gank him. You really got a lot of options with the pick, but the Ornn is not going to be one of them this time around. The Aurelia banned as well. Potentially trying to limit some of the AD mid laners left up and available. PowerOfEvil, notorious for his creativity. Much more control mages these days than in years past, but can obviously always bust something out of the back pocket.
The true mad scientist game. You have the mad scientist of UOL, and they're drafting versus PowerOfEvil.
Yeah, to be fair, I wonder what coach encouraged him to be a mad scientist, Frostgren. Is it perhaps the Sheepy on the opposite side? So yeah, history between these two teams, and Sheepy, I think, well aware of all the champions that he can bring to bear.
You have some really fun facts about Sheepy, Dracos. You were telling me the other day that Sheepy is really obsessed with micro interactions in team fights in particular, and a lot of the teams that he's coached for really excel in those team fights. And you see that from UOL. They are willing to flip on everything. Not only are they very talented players, all making Master or Challenger on the Chinese Super Server, attending Worlds this time around, but their attention to detail in team fights methods, I think, really is a hallmark of what you were explaining to me about Sheepy and what he prioritizes as a coach.
Yeah, it's how they utilize their VOD review time. Often the frustration of many European teams previously with the Unicorns of Love is it takes a long time to break down everything that could go right in a team fight, but also shows you how some of the best team fighting players have come in from the LEC. Players like Hylissang, obviously training under Sheepy, players like Vizichachi as well, two obviously big team fighting giants. But now we have the Vayne locked in, and I suspect going into the mid lane in the hands of none other than PowerOfEvil. And Nomanz, again, was absolutely bodied horribly. Orianna versus Syndra, PowerOfEvil smacking him down, and sadly, I don't think it's going to be a different story this time around. For UOL, it's going to be about weathering the storm here in the early game.
I feel like Lulu is a solid pick here, not only because it synergizes really well with Gadget's Twitch, but also if she can get close enough to Vayne, can just ruin a Vayne's day. You chain a polymorph into an exhaust, and you can hopefully slow her down long enough where the enemy or where your team can find her and pop her like a balloon. But ooh, this could be a big yikes, big send-off for UOL. See a lot of firepower coming out of FlyQuest.
This is definitely one of those compositions where if it ever gets online, it feels pretty unbeatable, but it's going to be difficult to get online, and FlyQuest certainly have the tools to dismantle it at every turn. The final pick here, what is it going to be? Another Blitzcrank game for IgNar, perhaps? And there it is. Doubling down on the good level 1 from their previous match versus TES, has to be riding a high. You know Blitzcrank's a confidence champion. If you believe it, you can hit those hooks. If you're doubting yourself, you're going to miss every one.
It can also be a little bit challenging to play Blitzcrank into Lulu. Now, obviously, the hook range can give you a slight advantage, but again, polymorph as he Blitzcrank runs up to you to try to set an angle for a hook can ruin your entire day and allow you to just zip to safety.
Yeah, polymorphing the carry too as you get pulled in and your Twitch unloads with that ultimate. It's certainly not as easy as just pulling in on the hooks, at least in the laning phase, but we'll keep our eyes on it regardless. Now, so far, the story for Worlds has been and will continue to be the importance of level 1s. Jungle control is very important. The slightest edge to either laner could mean a lane advantage, which turns into a jungle advantage. The slightest edge to a jungler means a jungle advantage already. So at the end of the day, level 1's really important.
Dracos, that is all valid. And yes, we can talk about this till the end of time. But I'm telling you, I want to party.
Yeah.
NA, LCL, the rocket up to the airport. We're meeting in the Starbucks above. I want a full fiesta here. Like, we're gonna go out, we're gonna go out swinging. I want like the bar fight, the fiesta. I want the circus in town.
You're over the like MMA and the octagon. You want the wild west out here, huh?
Yeah, I just want everyone to be shooting from the hip right now. Just very reactionary League of Legends. Like, I'm here to style on kids. I'm here to make you remember.
That's what PowerOfEvil did last time. Again, see if he could do it again. See how Solo's feeling in this game as well. Obviously stepped up big time in the previous match. Boss, though, continues to be a force to be reckoned with on the top side of the map. And I'm looking at it, Frostkern, and this music just filling me with tension. Because I know, level 1, if anyone's going to fight FlyQuest, see, TES backed off last time, looking to pick a better avenue to fight, ultimately still losing out on the level 1, but picking a better timing. UOL feel to me like a team who are going to take the fight head on.
I always like to say they're one of those teams that when you smile, they smile back at you.
Yes.
And it's this idea of like, you down to dance? Because I'm down to dance with you.
Surprisingly tame metaphor for what Unicorns of Love do, which is, again, bar fight. Bar fight. Just constant, scrappy engages.
Feels like you say one bad thing about one of their players and suddenly the other four are just like,
excuse me, what'd you say?
They're flying out of the woodwork.
Like, calm down, he said he didn't like my tie. Who doesn't like your tie? Just bam.
Look at those uniforms. You have to like everything about that.
I missed the full tracksuit, though, I will say that. The tops are cool, too. There it is. Woo! Boss looking fresh. Unicorns of Love, FlyQuest. Final games we get to see from both these teams. Let's make it a wake, not a funeral. Let's see what both these teams can bring to the table, how they can perform in their final moments.
Today is about celebrating what we have accomplished this year. Unless you win the World Championship, everything will end in defeat. It is only one team that gets to end their 2020 season on top of it all. So for now, a swing and a miss to start it off, but I like where our brain's at right now.
I also just caster cursed them because I was like, they're going to fight. They're all going to fight. They're going to put everything on the line at 30 seconds into the game, and I was completely wrong. They're chilling, they're waiting, they're playing back, they're respecting the Blitzcrank. They saw what happened to TES in the previous game. They're painfully aware that they do only have a level 1 Cassadin here against a lot of champions who are much stronger at level 1. That said, maybe they 5-stack in the bush and wait for a late
Oh no, they're coming, it's coming.
Here we go.
Surely it's coming.
Oh, here we go.
Round 1.
Now remember, chat, the first rule about Fight Club is that you don't talk about Fight Clubs.
Everyone be
don't
quiet.
clip this no matter what happens, okay?
We're in the bush. Can the 5-man stack save this? Okay, they're going around the corner. Keep inside to the wall.
They don't even know.
Surprise!
WildTurtle, 4-shot, now coming out. Santorin's going to be in trouble. He gets the smite down, but now he's running for the hill. He's ticking away. That's some deadly venom, but it's not quite enough to finish the job. Santorin's still grabbing the camp, and Nomanz still has to run for his life. FlyQuest, they avoid disaster, and at the end of the day, I think they come out on top because PowerOfEvil just won lane.
Yeah, lane is a pretty big yikes for Nomanz right now. Nomanz, you cannot walk up to that, sir. Good sir, please, back away. And like you said, Santorin, he got the Raptor camp. He's already level 2. He manages to hop his little butt all the way to his own Raptors, and he's now double Raptor into red buff. He's going to be feeling very good. And Nomanz is just waiting for mercy for this wave to crash into his tower and hopefully farm safely.
I mean, to be fair, this is very thematically accurate. Vayne is basically Lady Van Helsing, right? And Nomanz is playing Vampire.
How are you going to make this one work?
No, I'm just saying, this is just thematic. Like, we've got the theme, the lore matchup in the mid lane. Because as you know, the audience's favorite thing is to hear about the lore of League of Legends in the midst of a very highly competitive esports.
Take the tower shot, PowerOfEvil. Yes. Okay.
All right.
Now, PowerOfEvil is going to feel really confident to do this because he knows that AHaHaCiK is going to be on the top side of the map. He's got a nice little board on his top pixel brush, so he can be as aggressive as he wants here. Now, with Solo also crashing this monstrous wave topside, he can either get a cheater recall, which I expect he'll do. He should walk into this brush. Oh no, he's actually going to go hunting for AHaHaCiK.
This is, of course, going to be a pretty easy game for Santorin to play out. He has 2 lanes of pressure working in his favor. While PowerOfEvil does have to back off here, so maybe they have to concede something elsewhere. The good news for UOL is they are sustaining pressure on the bottom side. The range advantage of that Lulu, as well as her early poke damage, makes sure that Gadget can at least push in for now. Will get harder as more levels get under the belts of FlyQuest. The potential of an all-in starts to grow. Nomanz is dead. Happy B.
Sad B for Nomanz. Other good news for Unicorns of Love is they did manage to get a Scuttle Crab. They got the bottom one. However, they were chased off of the top one as we trade crab for crabs. Now Santorin is starting his bot lane jungle, and Nomanz is back in the lane and ready to go.
Yeah. Of course, one of the Cassadin builds historically was blue Cassadin, and you could opt for tier into things like the Frozen Fist or Frozen Heart, which made him nigh impossible for AD champions to kill. And it is triple AD on the enemy team, so the dream of late game scaling Cassadin is certainly not dead, and its itemization, I expect that Nomanz would be willing to bust out if he wasn't only at 16 CS at this moment in time. Oh, snare connects, that's going to be big, because now IgNar gets to waddle forward. Not going to look for the follow-up, though, as WildTurtle's burned all of his ammo. The fake Hex Flash, you gotta respect it.
That's very cute. You think he's going to Hex Flash, you're thinking, like, what angle is he going to come at, and he just throws the Q?
That's the real mix-up. Not throwing the hook, potentially better. Solo flashing in, though. He wants a solo kill of his own. Boss gonna make it out, though.
Obviously, Boss without his flash. Oh no.
Nomanz is gonna make it out in the end, but that's his flash now gone.
Obviously, Nomanz without his flash. Boss and Nomanz, they're in a bit of trouble if these waves get frozen on them. Boss has had his wave frozen on him by Solo, and now he is might be left out to dry if he doesn't get that to crash and reset back towards his side of the lane. And PowerOfEvil can do the exact same thing for Nomanz. Yep. And it is going to be really rough for UOL to try to weather this storm.
And remember, the last time we saw these two teams face, it felt like a lot of trading blows in the early game. This time around, it feels like complete and total dominance from the side of FlyQuest. 38-24 in the top lane, 30-24 in the mid lane. Cassadin doing a decent job, all things considered, if he hadn't already died. In the bottom lane, even though Gadget and Santos are able to get that push earlier on, they are already down 11 CS. So, big win here in the early game for FlyQuest. It looks like they are not willing to give up that high they rode in the TES game. They're looking to double down.
So, Boss with his time had walked over into the Krug camp and has placed a ward. You can see that it's spotted out by Santorin now. So, I would expect that AHaHaCiK will make his way towards his bot side camps and maybe try to trade for a dragon, knowing that Santorin's probably going to finish Krugs and then grab top Scuttle as it spawns. The issue is that he doesn't have priority in any of his lanes.
Yeah, this is a ludicrously difficult game, I think it's safe to say, for UOL to play out, as there's a little bit of bluffing here around the control ward. But Santos good enough map awareness to know where the enemy is going to be, so it doesn't have to be too scared of the rocket grab.
Yeah, and because AHaHaCiK took his back and didn't pick up a control ward, usually if he had the control ward, I would assume he'd try to go over the back of the pit and then control ward and try to sneak the dragon away. But because he doesn't have that, it's, again, as I like to say, the white flag has been waved as UOL are just going to have to sit tight for a little while, try to get the TP probably back up on boss, and at least more levels for this Cassadin before they try to make moves on this map.
Yeah, and so far overall, while it is a 1,000 gold lead for FlyQuest, level 6s are now starting to come in for Nomanz, for Boss. So things will start to get easier, maybe not in individual lane matchups, but with a little bit of jungle help they certainly could, as AHaHaCiK continuing to give up jungle camps here and there. Hold that thought, that's going to be the lockup, that's going to be the snare. Now the Lulu's going to be in trouble, but they're chasing down WildTurtle. Only level 5 for Gadget. He has to kill this Jhin. If the ulti comes out, Lulu is probably dead here. IgNar now in trouble as well. Santorin on the way down. That's going to be another trap locking it up. Gadget trying to run for the hills. The sidestep just barely against the wall, and it looks like Santos is going to drop here. Clean kill pickup for WildTurtle, but AHaHaCiK ready with the punish. Doesn't look like it's going to work out.
AHaHaCiK has to be really careful here.
It's going to get locked up. The flash forward, that's the pull back. There's not any mana for anything else. AHaHaCiK trying with a fancy footwork, but he's not going to be able to dodge out on that one. Gadget has to be careful here. Wants desperately that CS. That's about 3 waves worth of creeps. My God. He's going to give up so much if he can't CS here. He has no mana either. If he takes over to level 6, maybe he gets to ult, or maybe he just immediately dies.
And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it's not getting better at all on the top side of the map, as Gadget might die here.
Oh, Nomanz in the mid lane.
Oh, look at mid lane.
They've given up 2.
Oh,
they're dying in the Cassadin. The Cassadin's dead. Yeah, a little late there, but we got it in the end.
Okay, so for those who missed Solo's adventure, not only did he dive mid lane and kill Nomanz with PowerOfEvil, he proxied 2 waves on top side. Look at the CS difference.
This is an absolute clapping.
This is a lane kingdom if I've ever seen one. This is the lane empire.
Yeah. Oh, man.
The trade routes have been set up.
It is the lane empire. This is out of control. They got everything they need here. And all I'll say is, North American fans, if you don't want to take this victory, because I think you should feel good about this. This is a damn good performance for FlyQuest. The trees in the ocean will. Shout out to FlyQuest. There's going to be some good donations today.
Oh.
Oh. You got to respect it. Solo making full value of both sides of the camper emote between these 2 games.
Okay, surely. Oh no.
X flash, hook, waiting. Oh, not quite able to get to predict.
So we didn't get to see the replay of what happened in the bot lane, but I do want to give special shout out to Santorin. If you guys use YouTube and go back and watch that one, from downtown, that swirl seed to just tag Lulu in between the incoming creep wave and then immediately procced the Drowsy on the ultimate was just very nicely.
That was a chef's kiss sound, if you couldn't tell. And now we've got an engage on the top side, though. Big ult coming in. That's going to be traded back, though, on the Dominus. Trying to one-shot the Twitch before he can use the expunge. Leaping in, leaping out. Solo, just a little bit of healing. Gadget in trouble. Minions! Oh, cast level up. Are you kidding me? Oh, baby. Gadget, a little bit of luck on his side.
Can we talk about Gadget just planting his feet and just like...
What? Crime City, baby! Get out! Let's go! All right, Gadget, I give you that. We wanted a little style, and that certainly was stylish.
Oh, no.
And the emote. Swirl seed? No! Oh, that's a clutcher.
Wait, look at IgNar!
Oh, IgNar's not done.
This observer is trolling me.
Hex flash. The seed. All right, there's no Twitch in the area. Gadget has made it out. Nomanz has not. Nomanz is dead.
It's the saddest icon behind the tower.
I feel like if it's like a horror movie for the UOL fans. Like you're looking top, you're like the Twitch got out, and then suddenly it's quick pan to the mid lane where your mid laner's dying, and then it's quick pan to the bot lane for another death.
It's absolute whiplash here. What I was about to say is that I think he had flash the entire time. Maybe it had just come up, but Gadget was sitting on his flash when I checked, and the Renekton was on top of him, and he was just like, nah, not even close.
This is where we hold them. Well, you gotta respect it. Twitch damage output is pretty crazy. All right, we look back at this one. Oh, Santorin, just dancing on him.
Get back here.
That's right, as Gadget kills. And then, oh, this one too, okay.
I mean, I have a feeling that he's just gonna
Oh, no. Yep, that's, That man took half his health bar in the space of Cassadin's E animation. Whew. Oh, here comes Gadget.
Go, Gadget,
The
Twitch.
righteous fury of Crime City Twitch. Let's go.
IgNar is still level 5.
Yeah, that's a trend. It's level 8 for a long time earlier in the day.
Okay, guys, let's take stock of what's happening on this map. If you're just tuning in, FlyQuest are dominating, just gapping everywhere on this map.
Yep.
Now, I will say that their composition lends them to do that. They got a lot of very strong lane champions. So UOL are trying to get something back cross-map, particularly getting this Twitch snowballed ahead. They drop the Herald on the top side, which Gadget's still away. That's going to feel real nice in the bank. And this is like, if you're an LCL fan, right now, Gadget is your hope. He is everything for you guys. Nomanz, he's not going to be relevant for a very long time.
They're running for their life. PowerOfEvil wants the 2v1. The rest of the team now coming, though, and ooh, it's not going to connect with the ults now coming in. They need to sidestep. Santos needs to body block, but he's been pulled away. It's Gadget all on his lonesome, but they're still there. Boss on the backside, that's a big shutdown. Now they have to give the respect. Now they have to back off. IgNar's going to be in trouble. Santorin over the wall with the swirl seed can sleep AHaHaCiK, but he might want to wait on the cooldown there. Good damage now coming in. That's the snare as well. Solo so powerful, but now polymorphed. He needs to heal up with the Cold of Meek. Coming in just in time, but not nearly enough. WildTurtle taking down Nomanz. Fly still on the hunt. They're at a man disadvantage, but their pockets are filled with gold, and they're looking to make it work.
Gadget needs to be really careful.
Stepping forward. That's 4th shot. Yay! All right.
He didn't do the math.
He didn't do the math.
That face, look at Gadget.
Cut the tape here, folks. On to the next one. WildTurtle having a fantastic game. It's also for those who, let's check it out one more time.
Okay. This is your man, LCL.
That's peak Chad PowerOfEvil, knowing the team will come in time. And
credit to Santos. You know, blocking the hook right there, flashes away. WildTurtle doesn't get the snipe, and then gets a nice shutdown on Vayne. And it's just pure chaos from here. Nomanz does manage to get on the board by killing IgNar. And then it's just Gadget, Boss, and Santos slowly whittling everyone else down. Cut the tape here.
This is where we stop the replay observers. Thank you. Okay, now nothing else happened.
Nothing else went wrong.
Just a 5K gold lead for FlyQuest. Disgusting lead at this point in the game. Now keep in mind, this is the glass half full, so bear with me because I know optimism probably shouldn't be what I'm
okay, I'm buckled in, I'm ready.
Now.
Let's hear it.
But what you saw in those fights and what we're seeing on our screen is a 3-1 Twitch with a man immune stacking.
Oh, we know all about this one.
We do know all that. This is a ton of AD. And it's going to proc on everybody when the spray and pray is up. Why does it work that way? Apparently coded as intended. It's ludicrously strong. And so what this means is if we see more fights where Gadget keeps being the beneficiary of some gold, a little bit of extra XP, a little bit of extra time, then UOL may find a way back into this game. The solo now running for the hills and already some good damage going down. Boom, boom. Graves Alt not even gonna connect, does not want to share that gold.
Listen, we saw the Merman Twitch build in the LEC. If you're a Crown Shot fan, shout out to you, Crowny. It does, as Draco said, ludicrous amounts of damage because of its ability to proc off of each one of his ultimate attacks. So you can already see Gadget is starting to make some nice shoes out of Solo there. And it will only get stronger, so...
Oh, Nomanz trying to pick off IgNar. Has to be careful, though.
Oh!
Wow. Good footwork. Keep in mind, FlyQuest still with a 6K gold lead. For them, it's just about keeping it as clean as possible while they snowball this advantage. While you could say they're fighting against the clock of Twitch, right now it's really just about leveraging the massive lead that they do have. And you can see PowerOfEvil trying to do that on the top side as he starts to take down this tier 2.
It is kind of one of those nice things, though, for UOL, how strong Twitch can be on a side lane, because obviously FlyQuest can split up the map and feel really confident doing so because of how strong PowerOfEvil is on this Vayne. But you could try to assassinate him, which is why I like what Santorin's doing, which is just playing Peter Pan, shadowing underneath PowerOfEvil, and escorting him around. And it feels like you have President PowerOfEvil being escorted by Santorin on one side, and then you have President Gadget being escorted by Santos on the other side.
He's the boss, you know what I'm saying? He's the Don. It's Don Gadget en route, looking for the opportunities. Skulking around here. IgNar. Zooming out. He sees the Lulu, and he's like, wait a second, you're never not next to the Twitch.
Listen, Lulu is walking the dog right now. And even if you can't see the dog, you know it's there. Long leash.
We've gone way too deep into mixed metaphors. Shout out to you if you can keep up.
It's the specialty. You keep getting more and more precise on a meta until
vague.
There's like 3 people in the chat like, I got that one.
I got that. We're getting more and more niche.
Okay.
And again, if you're here and you, just as a reminder for overall stakes for the day, this game is just for pride. There's no standings effect here whatsoever. We have one final game after this between DRX and Top Esports to see who will be first seed, who will be second seed. That is a winner-take-all final game. There are no situations where there is a tiebreaker to follow. So this is, you know, this is our opening match. This is a little something to get the people hyped up before the big hype stakes.
The appetizer?
It's the appetizer. And it's a good appetizer.
Yeah.
Mighty fine.
Okay, so what we're going to be playing for right now is going to be this Mountain Drake. You can see that with the superior vision that IgNar has set up here for FlyQuest, that they may have a good position on Boss. Now, Boss is waiting for this Twitch to wiggle his way over here.
So that they can go for
surprise!
And now IgNar is just going to go for the knock-up. They're going to back off, and Unicorns of Love seem pretty set to contest this one. Keep in mind, Solo's still on the top side, and he doesn't have a TP. Jhin could try to steal this, but they are going to grab it. There you go. Clean Dragon pick up for the side of Unicorns of Love. Now they have to get out scot-free. This is the tough one because two of them are asleep. Malphite, though, unstoppable as he makes it out over the wall. Solo now coming in.
He has flash. He can flash engage. He's not going to. They've got the inside track, and they're instead going for the tower. Nice patience from FlyQuest.
Oh, Gadget.
Oh, no.
There it is. Big ulti, Solo trying to step forward. Solo slowly getting chipped away at.
Just play for the tower, FlyQuest.
And here's the thing is, Unicorns of Love really have the shotgun composition. They leap in, they do a lot of burst damage up front with that Twitch ultimate, but if they can't finish the job, PowerOfEvil can tear UOL to pieces. Now they're looking to break open. And if they're smart here, they'll take the tower, but not the inhibitor. They don't want to give any more gold or funnel further into the Twitch when there's not a Baron to potentially use to push and end the game.
Yeah, now at this point, FlyQuest can try to get maybe some chip damage, find a pick here on this tower, but want this wave to obviously hit, so there's no potential freeze here, but they should reset and start playing again top and mid until the Baron or the next Dragon spawns.
And this game is getting wilder by the minute, and while the gold numbers for FlyQuest certainly make it feel like it is an inevitability for them to win, Gadget is getting stronger, as is Cassadin. And while behind Cassadin is certainly not the normal level 16 death sentence we like to look at, it is still a big threat.
It's also really dangerous for certain members of FlyQuest to step too far forward. You can see Gadget trying to see if WildTurtle will overextend for one of these minions. And if he does, that's a very fat shutdown bonus on that 4-0 into Jhin. We saw the gold graph a little bit earlier, and Turtle is very wealthy.
Yeah, Turtle has 3 items now. So if there's a world where Twitch can kill you emerging from the darkness, certainly it would happen because even if you flash away at that point, he simply ults and then outranges your flash away option. But it's still going to be very difficult to pull off because WildTurtle, if he has a force shot, probably takes 50% of Gadget's health and can definitely take him from 50 to 0, no problem.
Literally. He'll hit Gadget and Gadget will explode into shrapnel.
2 hits. You hit Gadget, Gadget hits the floor.
This is about who finds who first.
Yes. Good news is Twitch can be invisible. Bad news is Jhin just drops traps and he'll find you.
It is, of course, then very interesting in the pressure game. We often talk about, you know, who has better contest on mid lane tower. Not only do FlyQuest have the tower, but, you know, WildTurtle can't push the wave past that anymore. Good thing is he doesn't necessarily need to because they pushed in all the way to the inhib.
Oh, they found Malphite.
That's a rock.
Where's he going to go? He's sleepy. He's
There comes
unstoppable.
PowerOfEvil.
He's going to make it out. A well-timed ultimate, but not nearly good enough to turn the fight. That's going to be a pick for FlyQuest. Question now is, what are they going to get done with it?
Well, they can grab the minion wave behind them and continue to fish for picks off of this tower, especially because Solo is actually shoving in the wave topside.
Now moving in.
Solo backed into Fog of War and does have TP, so he can join his team and TP on one of these minions if he wants, or if he sees everyone, he can try to push the top tower.
Flash forward from Gadget, though. That's big. WildTurtle now. 30% health. The follow-up. Nomanz looking to get some kills. These shutdowns could be massive. PowerOfEvil going to dissuade with the kick down. UOL on the chase. Gadget very quick, but they can't go for anything else. And in the meantime, as you said, Solo will grab a tower, so close to disaster there for UOL, but still able to walk out all lives intact.
And this is something that I do want North American fans to take away from kind of the last 2 games that we've gotten on FlyQuest. It's how well they're actually playing the tower and the map game. This team played really well around mid lane wave and constantly forcing TES to make decisions between, you know, are we fighting the dragon, are we picking up minion waves? And they're doing the same thing to UOL.
Oh. But now the Jhin can follow up. They need to speed on out of there. Ult coming in. Oh, Solo off to the side. They're corralling him. They're going to have to walk away. Santos is just going to be a name on the list. He's going to get knocked down. taken out. FlyQuest, very strong Baron taking potential with this Vayne.
I think they're going to go ahead and force it right now, knowing that Gadget is also relatively low health and doesn't have his cooldown available for ultimate. Boss is just about to get his, though.
That's going to be big. Nomanz also reasonably strong if he stacks up that ult a few times. Santorin not in the pit. Nomanz now sleepy. He is going to ult out. He gets a little bit more space, but the watch out eat feels a little bit early. Santorin, though, burning a stopwatch. FlyQuest not able to take the Baron off the back one, but they will find a pick. Boss now in trouble. Ulti going to be up just in time for him to use it to get out again.
Oh, the silence from
not
IgNar.
in time. Holding on to it, opting to give his life instead, knowing the 40-second death timer lower than the ultimate cooldown.
I mean, he had like a small window where he could have used it to get away, but FlyQuest did manage the CC really well. IgNar using the silence, and then he was immediately kind of shoved into a wall and stunned up.
Oh,
you know,
TP.
Maybe if he's just hard smashing the button, he gets it.
Oh no, Gadget's been caught out. Croc versus Rat. Croc wins every time in melee range. Solo now going to return to safety. FlyQuest taking down the Baron while Solo and IgNar start to zone. Play a little man-to-man defense here. They're going to back away. TP now coming in. Solo making it out as well. Nomanz trying to hunt for something, but FlyQuest have already gotten the Baron. They're just trying to find a single pick, a single denial here, but Solo is still alive. He simply refuses to go down. Nomanz will grab the kill in the end, but now it's Turtle on the backside. Again, 2 shots left. 1 going to find it. 2 looking for the finish the kill off here. 1 more auto. Turtle can taste it. He's so close. The shield just barely going to stop it, but there's the dancing grenade and the double for Turtle. Boss now running for the hills. FlyQuest absolutely dominating here in these last few exchanges. Boss barely able to make it out this time.
Oh, the minion, the hero minion, blocked the hook for Boss.
Gadget's still coming back.
She's just gonna ult the bush. No, just gonna walk slowly into it.
Here we are. This is going to be the final stand for Unicorns of Love.
Okay, it's an over 10k gold advantage for FlyQuest. They have the Baron. They have a Vayne. They've got smiles on their face. They are clearly enjoying themselves right now. As we take another look back at this one, we're starting very deep into what felt like a minute-long team fight. Like you said, Nomanz survives for a really long time, does manage to pick up another kill. Oh, he's going to feel a little bit good there.
And it feels really good as Jhin when each of your shots is a kill. Now, unfortunately, there's a Lulu shield to deny that one from being a kill, but the dancing grenade is there. Easy double kill pickup for FlyQuest. And now they're going to grab their second Drake of the game. Of course, no Drake soul for UOL to contend with, but as mentioned, I'd probably take the 12k gold lead over the Dragon Soul at this point if I was FlyQuest.
Yeah, especially because it feels like whatever IgNar catches, he kills. Checking in on Cassadin, level 13. Still not great.
Definitely still not great. 40% CDR as he opted for this particular build path, but now we see the trap being set. Ooh, IgNar's so used to hooking people. He might not used to a little too comfortable there. Oh, pull back though, but of course interrupted by the dash from AHaHaCiK. It looks like.
Yeah, FlyQuest, I think, actually just wasting a little bit of their Baron right there because they were trying to grab picks and no one was responsible for grabbing the wave, which means that you will get a nice safe reset for Unicorns of Love while there's nothing left to take onto the map. Look at PowerOfEvil. That's a really long trek to go back and get that wave and walk it in.
Yeah, a little bit time consuming. Of course, 2 items there with the Ginsus, as well as the Blade of the Rune King. Half an item on the way, so feeling pretty comfortable. Oh, there it is. Thank you, observers. 700 out of 750. We also have the Seraphs now finished.
Now, one of the things about this build is obviously Twitch is going to want to try to build it off of CSing rather than just spamming his abilities. He can, you know, ambush kind of back and forth from lanes, but he can't stack it as quickly as things like an Ezreal can by spamming abilities just due to the length of his cooldowns. Fastest that we've seen a stack, I believe, was 14 minutes with Crown Shot.
Yeah, that one was a little nutty.
That game got very quickly out of control.
Yes, it did. But for now, FlyQuest looking to make this a victory lap. Had a dominant early and mid-game performance so far, and they're going to play this one slow. Maybe not what you'd expect from a team with a 13,000 gold lead, but they respect the Twitch, they respect what Gadget's been able to do from Fog of War, so they will just chip away at this, not looking to risk anything here when they don't have to.
Okay, Gadget got it.
There it is. All right, big 3-item Twitch. Really the only person you need to keep your eyes on, that and the Malphite. Casting with maybe some cleanup potential, but if Gadget's not doing most of the damage, nothing's going to happen.
Also, it just takes IgNar just catching Gadget once. Yeah, he's got a Lulu, but
big
one misstep and he can pop him like a balloon.
He was coming out, but now the flank coming in from Solo, and again, with Twitch all down, a lot of that threat is gone.
We talked about how FlyQuest kind of wasted a lot of their Baron buff because they were trying to set up picks in the red jungle side, but no one grabbed the wave. You can see that the Baron has now fallen off. and they have yet to crack anything farther. We're looking at IgNar to find a hook, as Unicorns Love actually have a lot of time.
Trying to clap on solo, but you got to keep your eyes on that hook coming in from IgNar, trying to pick him off, and Nomanz still going to be able to cancel that grab and make it out. So that's a clean pick. 41 seconds till Solo's back up and alive, but it doesn't mean giving up their bottom lane tower. No, they're able to clear the way fast enough. Even the third shot there from WildTurtle, not quite able to close it out.
Yeah, this is kind of the thing, you know, Jhin, at this point, takes towers very well, but traditionally one of the slower AD carries at taking the towers comparatively to other attack speed ADCs. And Vayne has a relatively low attack range, and especially against a comp with a Malphite on it, needs to be a bit more respectful. So FlyQuest have actually really been slowed down as they're attempting to siege this, either through their own setup of wasting time by not setting up the waves and playing maximum effort around the Baron, or just kind of in the nature of their comp into UOL. And we're now starting to get into a situation where the time is ticking, and I know it's like that very, very long light at the end of a very long tunnel for UOL, but I can see it. I can see the little glimmer.
Tiniest glimmer of hope here for the Unicorns of Love. Again, do not want to leave winless.
I do want to point out specific items, however. WildTurtle, A, all of his items, B, his stopwatch. That one for the next team fight, especially when Nomanz thinks that he can assassinate Turtle and jump onto the back, and then maybe, you know, gets punished for overreaching. That's what we're going to be watching for with that stopwatch.
Definitely something to keep track of. Additionally, a little bit of armor optimization in the Zhonya's coming through. Of course, really only one magic damage threat on the side of FlyQuest. True damage coming in from Vayne means any fight that is long enough, she should be able to find a bit more.
It's also the fact that she's level 16, where Boss and Nomanz are level 14 and 13. The sheer EXP advantage that FlyQuest have is huge.
It's so massive, and they're not really willing to give it back. Like, I feel like they could have just taken mid lane inhibitor, but they just refuse to do it because they do not want to funnel any more gold into the side of UOL. Looking to find a pick and just end it in one fell swoop.
Our observers showing us exactly what IgNar could see, what he's fighting for there. Choke points are not going to be the friend for FlyQuest. You do have flash on IgNar though, so maybe there's a reality where if Gadget doesn't respect how close he gets to the Blitzcrank, not necessarily even pulled, but just like a flash knock-up into silence.
Waiting with bated breath here. Both teams spending a lot of time hiding in the darkness, looking, fishing, trying to find these picks, trying to find these opportunities.
They're going to trade third dragon, or at least attempt to trade third dragon for the Baron, but nice control would spots them out, so FlyQuest are now racing over here. Maybe we get our fight?
But what does it cost them to try this? WildTurtle can just grab this when anyone. Dragon tries to reset. WildTurtle can finish it. 6K, getting lower and lower. Solo on the way in Santorin as well. That Renekton can do massive damage if he gets into that fight. Are they going to hold on to the Drake? They're now flashing forward. That's going to be a big knockup, but really only connecting on IgNar. PowerOfEvil, meantime, in the back line. They pull through, and that's going to be it. Massive fight coming in. Gadget getting isolated, getting picked off. AHaHaCiK trying to get anything back, but it's not going to happen. Quadra kill for PoE. Oh, and he's on the hunt for the Penta. That's the TP out. WildTurtle wants to cancel. And he'll do it. It might cost him the pentakill, but they'll get there in the end. And this is what we're talking about. One fell swoop for FlyQuest here, wanting to end it instantly, and they'll find the opportunity to do so. Unicorns of Love bet it all on that Baron, but this time the coin comes up tails, and FlyQuest gonna finish their tournament in style. Take down TES, take down the LCL and the Unicorns of Love. FlyQuest end the 2020 World Championships at 3-3.
You'd feel good about that one. The sad gingerbread man coming out, Turtle was like, I didn't want to take it. He was going to TP to safety. I had to do it.
It's true.
Quadra kill for PoE.
And I mean, this is the thing, is that obviously there's a little bit of hope that springs up in your heart as a UOL fan when you see Twitch, you know, be able to like pretty much 100-0 somebody. But then you remember, oh, the second Twitch's ult is gone, Vayne's going to kill everybody.
I'm sad that we don't get a replay. Did he flash forward over the wall and just get immediately checked by Vayne?
He might have. I'm going to be honest, I lost it in the heat of the moment. My only goal was to keep my eyes on Gadget, and then he was just kind of in this pile of bodies much larger than him. So yeah, I hope maybe we get the replay. Maybe it could be the Mercedes drive to victory. Production.
And again, this was our final goodbye for Unicorns of Love and FlyQuest. Unfortunately, the journey ends here. But you can see some smiles left on the players' faces for both sides. I think, you know, some some pretty big takeaways. The first time you all played FlyQuest, it looked much better. You know, it was a come from behind victory and heroic performance from PowerOfEvil to allow FlyQuest to pick up their first win. Second game, that was a bit of a lane kingdom.
Yes, it was. That was third one. Second game was also beautiful level 1. I mean, FlyQuest have shown us a huge variety of ways that they can succeed. But of course, our Oppo player of the game, none other than PowerOfEvil himself, winning lane before lane even started. He was absolutely out of control.
And just really catching people off guard with how much damage he was going to do as Happy Bee comes out through there. And I think this is the moment. Okay, so watch Gadget. I think he flashes forward. Okay, no.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
He had a choice.
Either stand there and die or flash over the wall and
die a hero to Valhalla with you.
Is he yawning?
No, I think he's blown away, and then he's sad that he doesn't get the pentakill. But a fantastic game from all of FlyQuest. Really 2 bangers to end the day for the team overall. Yeah, I'm not sure what else to say about this group. I think it's really... I'm sad that we didn't get to see more from UOL, and I'm happy that we got to see FlyQuest show up, but it is a bittersweet as ultimately it will not get them out of groups. And of course, we are saving the best for last here in the World's Group Stage as the fight for first between Top Esports and DRX is up next. Don't go anywhere. You do not want to miss this one.
So you better not miss. And we only get stronger with everything I carry up on my back. You should paint it up with a target. Why would you dare me to do it again? Come get your spoiler, but we're taking over. We're taking over. Hey, look at you loving my name. You ought to know by now that we're taking over. We're taking over. Hey, maybe you wonder what your future's gonna be, but I got it all locked up. Take a lap now, don't be mad now. Run it back, run it back. I got bodies lining up, think you're dreaming of greatness. Send you back home, let you wake up. Why would you dare me to do it again? Come and get your spoiler out the head. We're taking over. We're taking over. Hey, look at you loving my name. You ought to know by now that we're taking over. We're taking over. Hey, 在以后，除了是傻子，还有其他吗？我左右，键盘琵琶着，时间滴答着，还不够。你的固执让我来守候，哪怕太迟也不想以后。就在这时放肆的挑逗。I got the heart of a lion, I know the harder you climb, the harder you fall. I'm at the top of the mountain, too many bodies to count. I've been through it all, I had to weather the storm.
And welcome back, everyone, to the State Farm Analyst Zone, where we are closing out the World's Group Stage in style with DRX versus Top Esports, and the winner secures first place in Group D. It's for all the marbles. It's for the full chocolate cake. LPL versus LCK. And, well, at the beginning of the day, we thought maybe this will be one where there will be a tiebreaker afterwards or whatnot. But Top Esports did drop that game to FlyQuest, and now we're here.
Who'd have thought?
Who'd have thunk it?
I did, 100%.
You knew it before?
Yeah, no, I always knew. I think that we're seeing a pretty interesting trend here, though, where the top seeds seem to be dropping pretty random games. I think the only exception was Group B, where Damwon actually ended up losing to JDG, and of course still securing that first place spot. But still, we've seen a lot of like surprise upsets kind of come out of nowhere that didn't necessarily influence the groups, but this one today could be huge. So
and that NA Week 2 meme
that
is
NA
actually
week
not
2.
alive anymore.
Yeah,
it actually died.
Exactly. We'll talk a bit about that at the end of the day, I am sure. But let's look at it from the focus of these two teams. First up, DRX, who has been having a great group stage, but did drop that game to Top Esports last week. And I think they'll be looking to prove that they are an even more serious contender than what we take them for by taking down Top.
Yeah, so last game, they actually had a really clean game. They were ahead 2 to 3K throughout the game. They found the place, especially on Nocturne early game. And suddenly it swung with multiple dice. I mean, with this play going wrong. And then suddenly you're also on the opposite end of a team fight that you wanted to win in the mid lane. So DRX actually had an overall clean game, and there was nothing wrong with their approach. I just think they should have been a bit faster with the way they were playing.
I felt like that DRX, though, were always in a bit of a draft disadvantage, because I felt like that everything that Top Esports picked for themselves had a really good answer to what DRX wanted to do. They had the Nocturne mid to deal with the Quinn. They had the Nocturne mids to deal with the Twisted Fate. They had Nocturne mids. Like, but also, I think the way in which the composition built around that Nocturne mid, enabling Knight to really carry in team fights as well, was a really strong setup. So I honestly think that the draft kind of gave them an opportunity to fall a little bit behind, to then bounce back later on in some of the fights.
Well, Maurice, you talked about what we see on screen here a bit earlier as well. The fact that Top Esports is such a caliber of a team that even if they're a bit behind, they will take those opportunities where they have even just a small window and keep pushing and get that victory.
Yeah, simply because they have the ability to do so. All of their team members are actually pretty fine in team fights. They all know what their role is. And obviously speaking, like especially when you see Jackie Laugh approaching a team fight, he kind of knows what he has to do at any point. So they're really behind him, especially when it comes down to it. And they have the confidence to actually execute any team fight when it comes down to it.
So we talked about the DRX perspective and wanting to prove that you can go toe-to-toe with Top Esports. But what about Top Esports now? Ran into the LPL Kryptonite, which is an NA team. And all of a sudden, for me, knocked down a peg in terms of kind of what is surrounding them in terms of mythos and in terms of how good they can be. And I know that's maybe unfair because it's only one game. But I think that they're going to want to prove that that was just a blip on the radar.
I think so as well. I think that what we saw there was a bit of a draft step mistake with the Urgot and some of the other picks they drafted for themselves.
Slight mistake, yeah.
Yeah, just a little one. But I also think that it goes to show that if you can get an early advantage against this team and keep the pressure up, they're a beatable team. Like, again, we've talked about how they are a team that's willing to go and fight you, even when they're at a deficit. They will take some of these gambles that many teams don't often take, and they will push you to the limits, and they'll challenge you to test you to see if you will actually be good enough to punish them. And I think that when they're in advantage, sometimes they don't get as punished as hard, but when they're at a disadvantage, you can see how that can quickly snowball, and I think FlyQuest demonstrated that beautifully earlier today.
A bit of ego, I heard, when this came out in the draft. This is, of course, from last week. We had the Draven pick coming out, the Nocturne, which was then perfect, according to Vedius as well. The Quinn in the top lane. So something tells me they won't go as daring in this one specifically, just because what's at stake. Amazing. What do you think?
No, I don't think so either. And I don't think they have to, because we talked about the DRX baseline, but the TS baseline is also there. They're obviously like higher up there. They know what they have to do at any point in the game. And I don't think that them, especially the game against FlyQuest, if we think about it, what the mix-up of the champions that they put into the comp suddenly made it so they didn't quite have the routines come in from practice, and it felt like that was disrupting their play. And I don't think they have to do anything cheesy against DRX.
They don't. Let's look at a couple of matchups then. Knight versus Chovy in the mid lane. And I was informed by the stats team that Knight's stats actually don't look as damning, like as incredible as you thought they would. But I think that also factors into how TES likes to play.
Well, it's also the Nocturne mid pick. It's
oh,
not
yeah.
Actually, it's not a great stat booster, I will be honest. It's a great champion, not great for the stats. But I think that Chovy as well, he is a bit of a statistical mastermind too.
He is.
Given that he is so dominant in lane.
Call him an KDA player?
Yeah, well.
Oh, God.
Yeah, look at it, so high, 8.8. like, but I think that whenever you see these two mid laners meet, it's always going to be a treat because of how highly skilled both are. And I think that both in lane, out of lane is where you're really going to get to see their impact. And I think that they're just so talented, and it's always fun to watch.
Yeah, but I remember saying that a lot, and I like the Nocturne also, but I really want to see it be all about them because we know how crazy good Knight is, right? We've seen all the highlight reels. Chovy, in my mind, is so a bit more reliable in that sense, where he's going to just play his lane and do what is needed for the team and do it expertly. But I want to see a pop-off Knight game. I really want to see it. I want to see something crazy. I want to see an Aurelia or something, or an Akali, and him go in. And this is just a fangirl and me talking in terms of, you know, what we could see in these matchups. Maybe it's not time yet.
I think the only problem for Knight is that he doesn't need to step up.
That's
because
true.
He's in a roster with Jackie Love, who, whenever the chips are down, he's often that player that elevates the level of the team. So the day that Knight has to step up is when things really start going wrong, but you know that that's also going to be an incredible day for him.
That's true.
I think he's a lot more comfortable just having the action come to him. I don't think he brings the action to other people. Chovy does this, for example, especially with Galio picks and everything like that, where he's more comfortable facilitating for others other lanes. And I think Knight, as long as he plays lane, he's going to be fine.
Yeah. So let's talk about the junglers also a little bit. It's a lot about the mid laners, but we haven't actually shut up about the junglers yet this tournament because of the way the meta is falling amazing. So where do you land on this one?
Yeah, so for me, Casa is kind of the Jankos, I guess, of the Chinese region, because what he does for the team is kind of facilitating at all times. He's not someone they necessarily play through, even though his Graves play has actually picked up recently. I think PureShick is more or less quite different in a way now, where he's someone that they independently from interact with one another. So none of the lanes actually require him. He's just farming out there, making himself strong. Whereas Cast is more or less like, as I said, the Junkers of the Chinese region actually facilitates for the lanes.
I think Casa is probably the one of, if not the smartest jungler at this tournament. I know there'll be some debate around like whether you can introduce Canyon and be like, Canyon is probably right alongside him, but you think about the experience that a player like Casa does have, especially when you compare it to a player like PureShick, it's quite the contrast in two styles. And I think that the point that Amazing makes is a good one, because I think that what DRX have showcased is they're willing to play around PureShick, make him the primary carry, put resources into him, whereas I feel like for Casa, he's still willing to gank on the Graves, he still very much plays for his lanes, and he's kind of independent in how he's able to build up his own leads. So I think that you have two slightly different jungle styles, but one is significantly more experienced than the other.
I'm so excited for this game, actually. I mean, it is the finisher of the group stage, and we hope it's going to be a banger. Quick prediction, and yeah, I don't know what you're going to say. I feel like I know what you're going to say, but motivated.
Do you?
I don't know. It's for first place.
I'm going with top esports. I still have faith in them coming to top.
It's because they play Nocturne mid. Yes, whatever.
Yeah.
Amazing.
They're also good.
I'm going to take DRX.
Okay.
I think top esports dropping a game to FlyQuest really rattled my opinion of them. So at the end of the day, like DRX has shown great promise in the way they've been playing, and I do think that they will take this game.
Oh, lovely. Let's see what happens. Who will take first seed in Group D? The LPL champions Top Esports or the LCK's DRX? Find out after the break. This matchup has some of the best players on the planet facing off as the teams are looking to take control over Group D.
There are some matchups that are just so incredibly exciting.
Yes.
Knight versus Chovy is probably what everyone's eyes are glued to. A paranoia coming through here as Knight showing his prowess. Chovy grabs the kill onto the Graven. There goes your Baron power play. Jackie Love versus Deft is another incredibly hype matchup.
It really gives us a look into what we can expect when the two teams collide yet again.